Goedemorgen, het is vandaag 18 december 2018. 18 december 2018, ja. En ik ga deze ochtend een speciale opname laten horen die ik al eerder heb opgenomen. En dat gaat altijd een klein beetje vooraf met een klein muziekje. En ik weet nooit welk muziekje, maar dan speel ik gewoon zomaar. Okay, this tape will become in English because it is more spread in a better way. So I will start now.
Hello, my name is Hans. I in a reply of a television program I saw not long time ago. And I like to give you my most favorite Bible stories. And why I like that Bible story so much. My name is Hans, and I became a Christian in 2006-7, something like that. And I was baptized in the Philippines. It was a very special experience to become Christian. Because before I was never in the Lord. I was like Saul, always again Christ. What I have with Christ? I was always thinking, Christ is for hypocrite people. It's not for me. All the people that was going to the church, we were hypocrites. No, I was not a believer at all. I think the Lord takes me with him. And he gave me some very big lesson. He gave me a lesson through my whole life. He started already when I was very, very young, when I was only 2 or 3 years old. He showed me what could happen with fire. What could happen if you will take a cigarette and you will take it with fire to smoke. I think many children have never had an example like me, that I was together with my 2 years older brother, and we decided to take our first cigarettes. We found that on our we were by our grandmothers, grandfather and mother, and we found in the room a packet of cigarettes with a lighter, with matches, wooden sticks where you can make a fire. So what we decided together, we decided to smoke. And then we were both in the beds. 2 little boys, I think something like 3, 4 years and 6 years old. We decided to take a cigarette. And what has happened? The fire wood was falling down on the bed. And it was a very big fire. And my older brother was in the fire. Oh, it was shocking. But it's an example of Lucifer. We call that Lucifer in Holland. But what Lucifer was doing? Oh, he touched my brother. He take my brother nearly away. How could he do? How could we do that? To start smoke a cigarette. And if you think that we have a lesson to don't do that anymore again, well, forget it. We both were smoking. We both try everything to do, all the things that was not good. We try to use drugs. We try to use the most cheapest cigarettes. We go to the disco. When we were only 11, 12 years old. Oh, it was all exciting. So very exciting that you can go to the bar, disco or bar with the lights effects, that your white is glowing and your teeth is glowing, everything is glowing. We like the effects. And even all the things that was bad we experienced. But now the books that we like so much, what I like later on very much, it's about Saul. You know Saul? The first chapter where you read about Saul is in the book Acts. And then, especially the part when in front of that you hear about Saul, there was another very strong believer, and his name was Stefanus. He was chosen by the disciples because the work was too much. Very soon after the death of Jesus, there was first the problem that they need one disciple more, and that was chosen. They choose between two other disciples, and they choose one new instead of Judas van Iscariot. They do that in the meeting that was organized by Petrus and other disciples, I think, but Petrus was talking, I remember. And then they choose first someone instead of Judas Iscariot. And then later on they go spreading very quickly, and they have also many enemies, but also they were growing very quickly. They're growing and they're growing and they're growing and they're growing. And then they have no time enough to give attention to everyone. There were too much people, and the disciples were discussed again what we have to do. We have not enough people to do the sharing and to feed them, so we need more people. And again, they were accept some people that were good in faith, and that will really were really acceptable, accept the story of Jesus. And one of them that was very, very strong in faith and in the spirit, and to know that Jesus was the most important experience in the life, that he was coming for with a goal, a special goal. He make a story and he explained many people about the whole coming of the Lord Jesus. And he starts with his story in the very first part of the Bible, the Old Testament. And he pointed many things of the Old Testament and going to the New Testament, and why it was so very important, and why you can read in the Old Bible, the Old Testament, that Jesus was coming, that Jesus have to die. Everything was written already. And Stefanus was telling that to a group of people to explain why they are wrong. Most people are thinking, oh, Jesus was nothing. But he was explaining why Jesus was coming. Oh, and the results of that moment that Stefanus was talking about Jesus and about all the things what was happened in the Old Testament and continue to the New Testament. The people that were listening was some people from the leaders of the Jews and the Pharisees, and they became crazy and they put all their fingers in their ears. They became mad. Oh, and what is the reaction of someone that is getting mad, or they hear only one person talking? Again, their feeling. Or they became really crazy. Because Stefanus was telling the truth. Nothing, just only the truth he was telling to all the leaders. And he became so very angry that he could not hold it anymore. And then they take him, they take that man, that Stefanus, and they take him with him and go out the outside way of the city. And there they like to stone, to throw stones to him. That's an old tradition, but still it's happened in the world, that people were killed by stones. It's very crazy to think about this, but this really happened many times. So they wanted to kill Stefanus. And a man, the very angry man to Stefanus, the Jewish leaders and the Pharisees, they put out their coats to have a free feeling to draw the stones. And there was one young boy, and he was also very against everything that was Christ, and it was the man called Saul. And Saul was taking care for the coats of the man that will kill the man that was talking about the truth. People don't like to hear the truth. And if we see that people don't like that, then that people can be touched so much that they like to kill someone, we see that matter very much, and maybe that discrimination, that angry feelings to put someone away, that I recognize that by my own. Yes, I'm so happy that the Lord let me experience that feeling.
Yeah, it's, in this time I will have a little break. You can, because now it's starting a little other part about my own experience. So I give a little break, but I still continue because I wanted to do this whole tape, and I first take already again a little music. So, and I will continue the second part. So now I go on with Stefanus, but maybe I can also something. Yeah, I will start now with this coloring. I will give you the loterij. The lottery in Dutch it is loterij. Okay, I will continue.
That he let experience so many things that people were against me. Yes. And not very far people know. It was happened once in my own family. Once in my own family it was happened to me that my just my old wife and the parents, my parents-in-law at that time, they were all against me because I was telling something that was in the truth, that was real happened. But they don't like that. They became crazy, and they put me away. And he put me away from my children, and I never could see my children anymore. Finally, I don't see my children. Still, till this moment, I don't see my children.
Not in a normal way. Never
but
in a normal
it is my biggest example to see that Jesus has a plan. God has a plan to teach me what is happened to my life. What is his goal with me? He has a goal with me. I was like Saul, also against Jesus, and then he moved me. He let me be crazy. Oh, I have nightmares. I remember that I have a nightmare that was Shakespeare. You cannot understand that, but it's really happened to me. I was dreaming that I was Shakespeare. Why Shakespeare? Shakespeare was a big hero in my old family, and he was the most favorite for my father-in-law that time. And it was not truth. It was not the truth. All that Shakespeare stories that he was copying was not in a good way. It was only acting in a wrong way. So people can take things to pretend what they are and who they are and what they do in a wrong way. I learned when I met Jesus in my spirit I learned to choose in a wise way. That we can choose in a good way to have Jesus, to have the Spirit of Jesus, because in the Spirit it is starting. Then we open our heart for Him. When we open, we can see Jesus. It's really truth. And if we receive Jesus, we can become saved. It's something that people were telling also to me and to. I remember that I was in Amsterdam and there was people were singing on the streets, and they will sing a song. Oh, open your heart for Him. Do it. And they were that song. I remember that we passed that group singers, and each of we were laughing. We were laughing and we're thinking, oh, that people, that crazy people that think that in that belief. But I don't believe that time. And later on, I like to sing that same song. Oh, open your heart for Jesus. Because it is the truth. If you accept Jesus in your heart, you can become saved. No, don't say that it is not truth. Don't say that you are the truth. You are not the truth. You can never be the truth. You are a fallen angel, like Lucifer, like my first experiences with Lucifer. I was the one that strike that matches, and it was falling down on the bed, and my brother was in the fire. That has happened in my life. And also my oldest brother, he missed the goal of life. He saw not anymore the goal of life, and he would take suicide. He took suicide. And I found him. Why me? Why I have found him? This the only conclusion what I can give is that the Lord was need me to attend of His being to me. And also after the suicide of my brother, I still don't be ready. So 10 years later on, or something like that, there was happening again something to me. I was already growing up. I was going to the art school already a few years. The most favorite school after the suicide of my brother. I was chosen for an art school. I don't like to follow the regular way of growing up anymore. I was attentive for the thing what was happening in my life after the suicide of my brother. I was changing, trying to change my life, to see what makes people happy, to help them. I was working in houses for children, to help people to grow up, to make a joyful life. But still I don't see it that time. I don't see that time what is really the goal of my life. And then suddenly it was happened that it was Christmas time. And what is Christmas for not believers? You know that? Christmas time for not believers is not good season. You create your own story. It's starting already in November. This time is also November, and in November you create your own story about the holy saints. There was a teacher in Amsterdam that made an awful story. He was a teacher and just a businessman because he had to take care of many children, and that's the reason why he created that story. He needs money, and he finds a very good goal to make money. He make a story about Spain and Black Peas, and very crazy story, but it was a very big success. He became very rich with it, and he could have enough money to take care of his family. That was the reason why he created that story. Many people in Holland don't know that. They still believe in his story, his awful story. They tell it to their children. They tell it all to the children that they have to believe that. Because they like to play it by their own. They like to be a holy saint, like Saint Nicholas, like Black Pete. They are all very holy in the eyes of the non-believer. But are they? No, they don't be. It's a kind of carnival. It's people like to act, and that was my latest test before the Lord was getting me. The latest test happened in 2003. I have to say end of 2002. End of 2002. They was asked me to my family that time to do an acting, and my father-in-law was suggest me to become my director. I have to act, and that time.
Oh, a little break. This is for my wife. Hello, my love. Hello.
Hello. Where are you going?
Oh, I'm going to the HEMA at the moment. Can I ring you? Can you ring you back a short moment later? Okay?
Yeah.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Bye bye, my love. Bye bye. I love you. Okay. We go on. It's a little break. I will cut it off, but I will continue now because I wanted to finish that whole tape now.
It was again in December. I remember. That time it was changing already something, because the most popular party in the year was in that family the party of the Holy Saint, the Holy Saint Nicholas, because the director, my earlier father-in-law, became a real director for amateurs, and he always tried to take that days to make his excuse to his wife. Why he wants to take his excuse to his wife? Because this wife was punishing him every year again for something that he had done wrong, because there was happened something in the family still very far before I was coming in the family. There was a reason. It was come a reason why they have a very close Saint Nicholas, and why he every year he gives a very special heart to his wife. And we, the children, were always very joyful to get that party, and we get many presents. Like my earlier family, we do that also in the same way. People that have no God, they like to have something instead of God. And something what you can take instead of God is to play by your own the Saint Nicholas or the Black Pete. My father was very favorite in my younger years to play this Black Pete. Then he was going to the toilet, and then he do a black, making a black hand, and he was pushing the door and very loudly screaming, and we never know that he was that, but he likes that acting. He likes that acting so very much. And also my later on my father-in-law liked that acting so very much, and he do that always every year again. He likes to give away so many presents to in the surrounding, but it was not the truth. It was not trusted. And that time in 2002, he suggested me to play in his play, in the real, to make an acting in the real that was not truth. And I accepted. And I'm happy that he was giving me that to do. Later on I became happy. That moment I don't became happy, of course, but I'm happy for that he did it. He gave it to me. Because that was in the plan of God. It must be happened that I became crazy. It must happen that I became crazy, that I could not see my children anymore. Oh. You know, in that cases, people sometimes kill the whole family. Sometimes it's happened that is real happened, that people kill the whole family and also take suicide by his own. I know in a city where it's happened to me, some years later it's happened really with someone that was doing that in that city. So, but I experienced already the other powerful things, so I don't do that. I still love life, and I still was looking for what is the real story. What is the real story of love? That was my goal in my whole life, to see what is love. I make a love paper. I do everything already. And finally, I found what is real love. Real love is Jesus. Nothing others than only Jesus. And when I found that, I was so happy. And the Lord gave me a new wife. He showed me. He takes me with him to the place where I was never been before. He takes me to the Philippines. And in the Philippines I met not only my new wife, the wife that I still love every day. No, he gave me also the saints, the other saints that was following the Lord. And people know that also the saints are human. All the saints are human. You cannot believe that saints as only one. No. You have to believe God, because He is the love, not the saints. And that we see also in the Bible stories of the apostles. We see that the apostles were human people that were only following the Spirit of Jesus. And by doing that, following the Spirit of Jesus, they could also help other people, because they believe in the Spirit. They accept the Spirit. And that's why they could do wonders. That's why they could open so many hearts. Oh, Lord Jesus, thank you that you were dying for us, that you came into our heart, that you came into my heart. Because without you, I'm nothing. I'm really nothing. Just only by your coming, I can build up in Jesus. And this I saw yesterday evening also. Yesterday evening, I was going to the center of Holland. And we have a meeting together with many saints, brothers. We could build up together, because we need each other. We cannot do it alone. No saint can do it alone. We can only do something in the Spirit of Jesus. That is the thing that every saint will know. Our very special church life is like this. We are not slaves from another human. We are slaves of God. Like Jesus was a slave of God, we are also slaves of God. And if you can experience this